Welcome back. I feel like I don't need to say anything anymore. I just like, it just happens. We've had a very eventful day so far within the World Championship Series. We've had a very eventful day so far in the World Championship Series. Keeps going. Snoot has been eliminated. Lilbo has gone through in first place. I don't think too many people would have expected the results that we've seen tonight.
No, absolutely not. And this crowd, though, it's so passionate. I think they're just this passionate because of the pizza and the Red Bulls. Like, I think that's what's doing it. Yeah, it has to be, Sean. It has to be.
It's been a good day. It's definitely been a good day. We've got 3 more awesome days to come as well. But we have to finish tonight's group off. We have one final match left here. We can take a close look at the game that we just saw and also the game that's about to happen. This is a team kill between these two players. Root Gaming going up against each other for a place for second. You have to say this is Hydra's game, but Kelazhur played so well here against Snoot. He executed what he had to do and he made it look easy.
Yeah, we were saying at the start that even though there's favorites in this group, sometimes even clear favorites, anyone in this group can take down any other player. But we do have to say Hydra has that advantage here. And I think especially when you look at Kelazhur's builds, they're a little bit tweaked. They're a little bit unique and special. And Hydra, being teammates, is going to know all about the ins and outs of his builds. You know, as Kelazhur going into this, you're not sure if you're ever going to match up against Hydra. Are you even going to play him in the group? Maybe Hydra goes out first. So I'm not sure if he's going to have something prepared especially for Hydra. He may need to dig deep here and just pull out some very solid players.
What do you think, Roddy?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a very difficult match for Kelazhur. They have been living together for roughly a month, so there's obviously a lot of information that they have on each other on both sides. And Kelazhur, even today, already playing, a TvZ against Snoot. He's probably showing his strongest builds as well. You're not going to save it with your tournament live on the line. It's like, well, I'm playing against Snoot, one of the best foreigners. I've got this good build, but I'll save it for Hydra. You know, like you don't do that. You just bust it out. Obviously, Hydra has been watching those games as well. Kelazhur is a pretty big underdog going into this one, but we spoke a little bit about this before that previous series. I'm sorry that I completely ignored your question before. It was the crowd, man. They're too much.
It's okay.
But like we mentioned as well, Kelazhur, it's all about momentum, I feel. And as soon as things started to click for him, he just he turns it up and he steps it up a notch and he just plays so much better than what you even expect him to do.
Yeah.
It could happen again. Like that last series was definitely very awesome for him.
I mean, if he can continue going in the right direction, this is going to be a very entertaining
There's
evening
only
for
one
these
direction.
players, so there is. Let's take a look at the map order here. Pig, I know you're our resident expert for these next few days. We've got the maps that we're going to bring up for a second. Talk to us about some of the vetoes, some of the picks. Is this going to be a fast-paced series? Is this something that stands out when we look at these 3?
Well, interestingly, we do see that Kelazhur vetoed Expedition Lost, Hydra vetoed Inferno Pools and Iron Fortress, and Kelazhur then vetoed Cactus Valley. So I think those are relatively standard vetoes. Expedition Lost is a map which Terrans really struggle on. Not very good for Reapers. Reapers are something Kelazhur loves. Probably figures, let's take that one out of there. Inferno Pools, pretty obvious veto for Hydra. Iron Fortress as well, very hard to defend your third base. So pretty standard vetoes there. And Cactus Valley, if you spawn cross map, it's very hard as the Terran to push into the Zerg. So pretty standard there. We are going to be looking at Coda first map. Captain standard of the maps, Coda's very generic, very balanced. We're going to see that even game there, and then we're going to move through into those other games.
All right, well, let's take a closer look at Coda. I mean, we've seen it a couple of times today. Let's bring that up for you. So Coda here is a game, we've got some stats already from 2015. It is 6-4 in favor of Terran. We've seen this map already today with Kelazhur versus Snoot. Talk us a little bit about this map, Terran versus Zerg, and what we could potentially see from these two on stage.
I think the interesting thing to take note of is where does the Zerg take his fourth base? Usually that's what ZVT is based around, and normally it's going to be that front base below the main, and that's going to be a relatively fast pushing distance from the Terran, and it's going to be a lot around that watchtower. Can the Zerg push the creep out beyond that? Can they get that map control? If they can, much easier to play ZVT on here. There's those wide open spaces. If you have creep spread as well, your day becomes a lot easier. But if Kelazhur can keep the aggression up, keep that creep spread back, suddenly it puts Hydra in a very hard position.
Yeah, how does momentum play into this? Because we've seen, Kelazhur has picked up a win, he's moved through to the position he's now, he's feeling a little bit better, he took a rest. Hydra's just come off the back of a loss. You think that if Kelazhur lands like a strike early, a move early, a hellbat push, something that Hydra struggles with, this can really landslide in his favor?
Absolutely. I think it even starts before that. If he opens up with Reapers again, like the way he did against Snoot, like small things early game, you know, Reapers surviving with 1 HP. Those are all things that can make a Terran feel so good, and then they just play with so much more confidence. Or will a Reaper die to that final shot of a Queen, and then suddenly the follow-up aggression is a little less powerful, and then maybe he will be able to push out that creep a little bit further. So I really think the early game is going to be key, and it's definitely going to set the pace for this series.
I mean, if you think about Hydra, he really hasn't lost that much in WCS. His first loss was against Mora, he lost versus Pull, and now he's just lost against Lilbo. He ultimately is going to be looking to just drop the anchor and just shut Kelazhur up and say, this is my position. I came to this group as a favorite. I am the Season 1 finalist. There is no way you can touch me when I knock it up a notch.
Absolutely, and of course Hydra favors a very unique style of Zerg versus Terran. What he often likes to do is go for both the standard fast third base, but at the same time go for a fast lair, tech up towards those Mutalisks, and it does leave him somewhat vulnerable to Hellbat timings, or at least you'd think so, but even against Pult in last season's finals, he'd often just somehow micro his Zerglings and Queens and just pull out that defense. So it's going to be interesting, does Kelazhur getting a little bit cheeky there with a little bit of a eye wrinkle, just kind of raising his eyebrows there.
I think that's good though. Even small things like that, you know, being able to take it lightly, still being able to play with the camera a little bit, instead of like trying to freak yourself out and be like, oh my God, it's Hydra, you know, like he seems pretty relaxed. He even came to us as well, you know, in between the breaks. He's like, well, I couldn't go down 0-4 now, could I? So you know that he's already feeling good about that win, and he's trying to keep that good feeling. Don't freak yourself out. Don't make it bigger than it is. It is really big, but don't keep telling yourself how big it is. Just try to do your absolute best.
He's a great guy. Diego really is a great guy. He's very funny. He's great to have around. He's enjoying himself for his first trip over to Europe as well to compete within any international tournament.
It's been such a beautiful story, like we said, man. We saw him in 2014 and the start of the year, January 2014, Sao Paulo. And you see him at an Intel Extreme Masters. You're like, well, you're here because you're local talent. But this truly shows that it doesn't matter where you grow up. You don't have to be in Korea or in Europe or North America. Like, even if you just grow up in Sao Paulo.
Even Australia.
Even, you know, they come from all around the world. And to see guys, you know, like Pig in Season 1 have a great run. And now Kelazhur again in Season 1 being part of Premier League and doing it again. I think that's really awesome.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll hear from you towards the end of the day as we get ready to wrap this up. It is time for the final game of the evening. Which player is going through in second place? Can Kelazhur make that dream come true? Or as we've been saying over and over and over, is Hydra just going to continue to steamroll like he's done in the past? It's time to find out with our commentary team for the last game of the evening. It's going to be, of course, Todd and Kalaris.
All right, thanks very much, guys. We're in the final series, and not exactly the series I was expecting it to be perfectly honest with you, especially with Hydra here in the final series of the day. But I think if Kelazhur can cause an upset, which he could potentially after we saw what he brought out from Snoot, then that would turn this group completely on its head.
He played much better against Zerg than he did against Protoss, that's for sure. But, I mean, Hydra is known for his Zerg versus Terran, so at the same time, I guess for Kelazhur to win, he's going to take some serious mind games, you know, winning the mind games. But he did just that against Snoot earlier, so why not against Hydra as well?
All right, well, we're getting on to our first game here in this best of three. It's the final best of three of the night here for Group E, and what a group it has been so far. A great way to start off our groups in the round of 32 here in Germany, as we have now our two players colliding on Coda to figure out who is going to be able to advance on to the round of 16 in Toronto. As we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our red Zerg representing Team Root. It is Hydra. And up to the top left-hand corner, also representing Root here as our blue Terran, it is Kelazhur.
Great intro, James. That's why you're the best.
Thank you very much.
Loving it. All right, Kelazhur, like I said, he did very well with the mind games against Snoot. You know, the one game that Hellbat push was expected, it was something else. And the one game that it wasn't expected, well, there it was. So in this game against Hydra here, hopefully for him, it's going to go the same way. The thing is, Hydra, I think if he doesn't fall behind early on, like in the later stages of the game, he's just so good overall that if I was Hydra here, I'd just be covering all my bases, which actually in StarCraft is much harder to be done than Sades. And a little bit of chatting here happening.
Yeah.
Don't forget to take a jacket to Toronto. Not sure if he's trying to make Hydra confident here or just being nice with his teammates.
Yeah, he's already opened up with 11-11 to start things off with Kelazhur, so Reapers are going to be on the way over there quite quickly, but likewise Hydra is kind of committed to the defense of that spawning pool first to start things here against Kelazhur. And being teammates, one can imagine that they're pretty familiar with each other, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, there is like that common misconception that teammates practice a lot together, and a lot of the time it's not necessarily true. Like a lot of them don't always practice together. It depends on how close the team or team members are in reality. And for I think the most part, or like most of the time, root players, they are pretty close. They talk a whole bunch. Hydra even said himself, I think it was back in Poitiers for WCS, he mentioned some of the names of the people he was playing with, and a lot of his teammates were in there, and he said that it really helped him to be able to speak with them. So yeah, maybe that's the case here. Hydra like opening pretty safe here. Goes back to what I said of him just really not having to take any big risks, just playing straight up, making sure he reaches that point where he's on 4 bases, plays the later stages of the game, which Kelazhur will know how to play himself, but maybe not necessarily of the level of Hydra.
Well, first Reaper's on the way across, and maybe wanting to just save this a little less CV from any harm, as extra Reapers are going to be following this up. Usually it's 3 Reapers.
Hydra is not mining from the gas, by the way.
Ooh. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, even though it wasn't spotted. Like, if he hadn't been spotted, I think it'd be smart maybe to do that, because then he can go into a 4 queens build against somebody that expects speed. But no, he didn't even get scouted, so a little bit of indecision. It happened against Lilbo too, with some of the cancellations that we saw like on Burrow and stuff.
But usually speed is the go-to to eventually shut this down, the 3 Reaper play, right? But if Lings and then obviously Queens do help out as well, like the next stage is speed, but
I guess he just changed his mind. He's like, I'm gonna go for 4 queens, even without 1 gas already being up. And at this point, I guess Kelazhur didn't maybe see how many gas was mined from it. And losing the first Reaper here, this is really gonna weaken this aggression, because now he's gonna have just 2 instead of 3. We saw how well he can do actually with just the 3 Reapers earlier against Newt.
Losing 1 though does take the wind out of the sails a little bit, as the factory is on the way behind all of this, so he's looking to couple it up with Hellion again.
In the same place as it was against Snoot earlier, and Hydra, well, didn't even need to move his overload, man.
No.
Was waiting there all along to spot that CC. Actually, even 2 overloads, covering all these bases.
Beautifully nestled in between them, so all is good. Reapers probably won't get as much done, anywhere near as much they did against Snoot, because again, one of them died so early on in this. And 2 is infinitely less than 3.
Well said.
Thanks, man, thanks.
Is he gonna go for a Banshee again? I don't see a second gas just yet here for Kelazhur. He's gonna start pumping out Hellions and remakes that 3rd Reaper. It's funny how Reapers became new Colossus. 3 is the magic number, man.
And they do what they can. Roach Warren's on the way. Ooh, okay, Hydra. As that's being planted down. And even the Creep Tumor actually helps to just spot when those are about to jump up, so I didn't even need an Overlord up there. He has spotted this Roach Warren at the front though. Double Evolution Chamber is going to be added on as well. And Kelazhur, I think, well, already Hydra is sending a big message to him. It's like, well, yeah, you can see my Roach Warren. I'm pretty sure you shouldn't be going for anything too crazy here, as I've already walled this off as well.
Still no starports, and as we have an armory here starting, he's going to start a starport here, I think, in a second. Kelazhur. Unless he wants to go for a Mulder Hellbat's attack. I wonder.
Maybe. I mean, it could be another Kelazhur special.
Hydra, he was one of the first Zergs that I saw really, being confident in a way he talked about his capability to defend against Hellbat pushes, which a lot of Zergs have struggled against for some time. So it's going to be interesting to see how well Kelazhur can do here against somebody of the caliber of Hydra in terms of, defending with this. But Steam Pack started for Kelazhur, as well as he's pumping out some Marines out of the 1 barracks.
It's interesting as well. He's got so much confidence in this small composition that he uses at the beginning that he actually added on a 4th Reaper to compensate for the fact that he lost one of the Reapers in the main base. So still looking to poke around, doing a bit of damage here and there. And we'll find the 3rd base.
Burn those tumors here a bit for a second.
Yeah.
Gonna get a cancel, I think, here on the 3rd.
There's not too much slowing it down. These
Oh.
roaches now about to pile on out, and they
Should
will
be
take
attacking
some
the third.
scratches.
Oh, he could have gotten a cancellation here and maybe
Yeah.
even burned that one drone and delayed that a lot. Instead, it's just going to be pulling back.
The armory is complete, so Hellbats could have morphed in during all of this, but it looks like he's just having to go in for the fight anyway. A really good focus fire from the Roaches to ignore the Reapers there, just in case they would try and micro back and tank a little bit of that damage and eventually heal up. But so he killed off the important units there, which were the Hellions.
And he lost some free ones. Okay, the Roaches. Yes, Roaches are free killers. Oh, well. Not free per se, but they're pretty cheap.
Pretty cheap, pretty cheap. All right, well.
He hasn't shown that he can, go into Hellbats just yet here, Kelazhur. I don't think he morphed any one of them.
No, not at all.
I think if he morphed at the third base and just targeted it down and got a cancel, he would have been in a good position, already having the third orbital. Not sure why he didn't do that. It's the same thing as, what happened against Snoot earlier when they played on Echo. He chased the Queens instead of going for the third base, but, I guess back then it didn't matter because he won anyway.
I really can't underestimate this Roach number that's starting to swell in front.
Yeah.
And also, they're still in production. He's gone back to drones, yes, but this alone is stopping Kelazhur from really doing anything on the map. And he's actually going to go straight for the
The
buff.
SCVs were pulled late here, so the bunker's going to die very quickly.
He's got to kind of respect these Marauders, though, behind this wall, because as much as, he can try and push up here, Stim is finished for this army, so it's very, very difficult to start breaking through.
Wow, Kelazhur is misreading this game. He made 3 turrets, man. He thought there was Mutas.
Uh-oh.
There isn't a Spire, man. There is a lot of Roaches entering your base and killing you. That's what you needed to be ready for, with more bunkers and quicker SCVs on the repair here.
Yeah, a lot of Roaches are going to end up dying, but they got themselves 8 workers, which is nice. This eventually will be cleaned up here, so the Roaches did pretty well for themselves, everything considered, because it's 57 workers to 53 behind it, but triple mule as well.
I mean, he traded so well, and again, with just Roaches against loss of bio just before Medivacs come out, so...
Dead even on that resources lost. Do you think that was all worth it there for Hydra, fully?
I mean, it was worth it, but at the same time, he's on Roach bailing tech.
Yeah.
Against a Terran, that's going to be 1-1 in a second, that's going to have Medivacs. So he needs a Spire and Mutas, and look at this. The Spire is going to start here. Nice delaying here on the Starport and Medivacs.
Yeah, that can stick around there for quite a while, up until he maybe has a Viking out or so to be able to shoo it away. So he could come in later on for more contaminates to slow his opponent down.
I can't believe Kelazhur made 3 turrets like this, fully expecting it was going to be Mutas, but it was Roaches. It's like the opposite. That's like getting turrets against Blink Stalkers, mass Blink Stalkers all in. It's not what you get. You need units on the ground and bunkers.
Right, well, 4th base is on the way, and unfortunately, well, he's going to have to clean this up to start things, and then maybe go for some drops later on. As even building a bunker over there, just to make sure that he can properly defend that location.
In terms of upgrades, we see +2 starting here as soon as +1 finished for Kelazhur for the infantry weapons. Whereas we already have +2 carapace, very close to completing here for Hydra. He's done a fantastic job with that here in this game, but +1 melee will only finish now. Remember, he made the +1 missile earlier.
This is quite powerful on attack as well. He doesn't really have much there. It's up to that siege tank to do a lot of work behind there. He might have to just pick up and get out of that 3rd base. There's almost no way he's going to be able to continue claiming that. As there is a big drop. He's committing quite a few of his forces here.
The Banelings!
Okay, they're actually moving on forwards quite quickly. Despite not having such fugal hooks, they actually connect with quite a bit of that
There's
army.
too much.
Yeah, I mean, not having those 2 siege tanks, having those die off, and such fugal hooks finishes, a lot of SCVs go down pretty fast there. Hydra, in this first game, does massive damage. He's got 70 workers to 28. I'm not sure, as much as this drop is going to do something on the right-hand side, he could just morph in a lot of Banelings at home and clean that up.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have many Zerglings or Banelings back at home, so this can still do a lot more, especially if Kelazhur pays a lot of attention to it. That is a lot of Marines here.
Got himself a hatchery, which isn't too bad. At the same time, these Roaches are being cleaned up and back at home. Kelazhur.
Oh, he needs to pay attention to his units.
Okay.
For a second, I thought that Kelazhur, he was over here. But now, I'm looking at this. He's defended back at home. He has, 2 Medivacs on the map against 0 Mutas. I think he's in a fantastic position from there. 55 army supply to 61. Only in Walkers. In Walkers, he's on 27 against 65. So that means he needs to make something happen now. So I guess Hydra, if he defends well against those Medivac drops, he's gonna be okay. But
I mean, can Kelazhur here defend against the swelling roach numbers that are going to hit him again? Because he's making a lot right now. And can he even keep up with that kind of production, Todd?
I'm a little bit surprised that he's not getting Widow Mines. I think if he made Widow Mines, he'd be in a lot better position to, you know, try and defend back at home. But it's really, or even go for the counter aggression. Go for like a base trade. There is no Mutas. Just pick up with everything you have, like you do against Protoss. When you fall behind and you want to steal a game, and then you drop in the main as the Zerg leaves his base. You base trade, you fly in the corner of the map. That's at least a draw. Sometimes you're going to be able to win it as well.
Not reacting, and there's only unfortunately a few mules here to kill, but being that low on workers at the moment, those mules are a big deal.
Yeah.
As he will drop again, just trying to get any trades he can, but it's going to be so many units coming out from Hydra. Again, his economy is still very, very powerful. Despite losing that hatchery, he had his 4th hatchery in towards the middle of the map quite quickly compared to the economical state that we're seeing here from Kelazhur.
Yeah, I mean, income-wise, they are worlds apart.
Yeah.
1,000 more mineral income here for Hydra. Ooh, those units on the left. Pick up quickly. And even on the right-hand side, getting defended everywhere. Hydra has split his units perfectly across his bases. Only the natural is left without any defenses there, but he could send them very quickly if this was to be attacked. At this point, Kelazhur, to win, is going to need some really great draw play in general. But he's building up quite a nice army back at home. Like you see, supply-wise, they are far, but not as far away as they were like a while back. Like army-wise, it's 90 army supply for Hydra and 75 for Kelazhur. So he's still in this.
Yeah, you're going to have to clean up some of this creep in the middle of the map as well.
Oh, Corruptors.
Too far forwards onto that. That's a lot of Banelings looking for the wraparound on this army. Picks up everything.
He's getting Corruptors to shut down these Medivacs. He realized that on the ground is okay here, Hydra. So he's going to go for the SKT1 Dark approach, man.
Everything's being divided up, and now he sees the Corruptors, has to turn our back just a little bit. There aren't that many out just yet, but Hydra has divided his forces up very well once again.
It's the YOLO boost.
And I don't think it's really going to do a whole lot. Oh, they're just on rally to actually drop there. And there's plenty of roaches here to try and shut this down. And if he brings down the Marauders first, which there was a little bit of focus fire to start things off there, but then they're just killing some of the Marines off. And they'll go down.
Yeah, Kelazhur is falling apart here a little bit. He's forgetting some Medivacs a little bit everywhere on the map. Gonna try to gather his forces here.
I mean, I think it's probably quite difficult considering the position he got put in, right? I mean, he was down to 28 workers or so. He's trying to battle back against the deficit that he finds himself in. But
Hydra's 3-3. I don't think he realized against so much of an army the Zerg he's playing against. I think otherwise he'd be making bunkers in units to get ready and defend against this massive attack that's about to hit him.
Yeah, the Swarm's on the way to assimilate the Terran. This is going to be very, very difficult to hold on against. How many tanks does he have? He has 2 set up there, 3 in total, but this is a huge wave of Zerg pushing on forward. The links to the right-hand side bring down the majority of that bio, as the Banelings will just connect with plenty of some of that bio at the front. It doesn't even matter how cost-efficient their trades are. There's just too much Zerg here for Kelazhur to deal with. GG, Hydra takes game number 1 in this final best of 3 of the day. And oh boy, that was an interesting one actually, that game.
After the initial attack, Kelazhur, he had preserved like a bunch of his production going with the mules that he had, even though he was very far behind on the SCV count. But I think if he had tried to drop in like 3 or 4 places at once rather than just 2, he might have been able to do some damage to Hydra. Hydra, defending 2 places at once, I mean, he's a Korean Zerg, of course he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
He needed to push him a lot more than what he did to be able to win against him, and he wasn't able to do that. And then from there, I mean, if you have 65 drones against 23 SCVs, usually you're in a good position, even though like this game he didn't have mutas for the longest time, went for the Corruptors and then finally shut down those Medivac drops and won.
Well, a good start there for Hydra on the potential road to a championship here in Season 2. We're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, it's Hydra versus Kelazhur, game number 2.
I move objects with my mind. I climb the tallest mountains and slay dragons. I defend my galaxy from ruthless aliens. I am never bored. I am stronger. I am faster. I am G1.
Game number 2 now here for Hydra versus Kelazhur in our Root for Root matchup in the final series here of the day in Group E. As first game, really sporadic, really kind of a weird little dynamic there between the two of them, kind of all over the place, but in the end, Hydra was able to prevail.
Yeah, he played pretty well. You know, that attack kind of caught Kelazhur off guard, and there's a lot on the line, man. This is for a ticket here to Toronto. Everybody wants to go to Canada. Canada is such a lovely man. Actually, Toronto, from last year when we went there for the Intel Extreme Masters, left one of the best impression, like out of all the cities I've been to. It's such a nice place, and it's no different for these two guys here. Hydra really wants to go, and Kelazhur wants to go as well.
Yeah, you're totally right there. It left a really good impression on me as well. I think probably because I was able to cast Flash's Championship, that left quite the impression. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Germany, are you ready for game number 2? Let's get into it. Varney Research Station spawning down to the south here as our blue Terran. Representing Team Root, it is Kelazhur. Look at that, man. Cheeky winks. You've been cheeky winked by Kelazhur. And spawning up to the top as our red Zerg. Also representing Team Root, he's a Titan, he is Hydra.
No cheeky wink from him. It's funny because there is some players that have played in this studio like dozens of times, and they never really got quite the grip on how to interact with the camera, but Kelazhur is his first time here. And he's making a mark here already. Even if he wasn't too advanced, I have to say, he really impressed me today with some of his games.
Hydra, man, he just keeps coming back time and time again. You cut one of his heads off, 2 grow. You cut those head off, 4 grow.
What is he, like one of the... What was the name of that?
I think it was the Hydra, right?
Oh, yeah, it is.
So, yeah.
There was another name in French. Okay, yeah, maybe the Hydra.
Maybe. It just keeps coming back, man. You're not going to keep him down.
You're so insane with your humor that I don't even get it sometimes. it's okay.
It's all to do with Greek mythology and random little things that nobody knows about. Although Hydra is kind of a common thing, so I'm bad on you, Todd. GG. Anyway.
Rip.
Sorry.
Are we gonna see a CC first? By the look of things, yes. Whereas Hydra this time not gonna go for the pull first, straight into hatchery. Kelazhur. In the previous game, it was really weird, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he might be in a really good position if he went for, like, if he morphed, even like if he didn't morph into Hellbats, he just had to target down the third hatchery, take it down, and then leave. But he stayed there way too long with his Hellions, traded them for Roaches. And then Hydra from there, you know, he had map control for the longest time, so there was really no way for Kelazhur to see the attack coming unless he scans. But when you're Terran, you know, and you have a choice between a scan and mule, well, you rather win or die rich than get the information all of the time.
Well, I think that in that game, the first game at least, just small mishaps for Kelazhur. I mean, losing his first Reaper, for example, is something that shouldn't really happen like that. Getting caught off guard and taking a little bit of damage to Zerglings, and then the Queen coming in from the left-hand side. So just small mishaps there from Kelazhur in the first game, which Hydra is more than willing to capitalize on. And this map is normally kind of a good map for Reapers as well, to just head on over there and try and do something.
Yeah. Pretty sure we're going to see the 3 Reaper play once again, which Kelazhur has been really good with. But in the previous game, really didn't make too much happen with those. Lost the first one and then kind of struggled.
Yeah, even replenished it, as I said before, whilst that game was going on. So it was an interesting little move.
He remade it. You don't replenish a Reaper.
I mean, it's the same thing. If you're going to bash me for my English on Twitter, I'm going to bash you for my... No, never mind. All right, so SCV is going to head home as well. Doesn't really need to be around at all. And he didn't actually go for Reaper. He went for Marine.
Not my fault. You didn't know how to spell generous.
It's a common mistake in English. Proper English, of course. Anyway, so for now, I'm going to complete the wall off as well.
Yeah, not playing with any Reaper here, so... I guess he just wants to go straight into, very quickly into Hellions.
That's a really quick layer. And at the natural, it's going to be hidden for a long time, if the whole game as well. That's very fast. I was not expecting that to come out.
I think it's like a very fast 2-base Mutas, hoping that it's a quick third CC, because it makes sense. Like, Hydra scouted the CC first. What will a lot of Terrans do right after the factory? Third CC. Then, if you rush very quickly to Mutas, yeah, I think you can do some damage.
Whenever I see crazy layers like that, it always kind of sends ridiculous alarm
Yeah.
bells in my direction,
Like
of
Nidus,
Nidus
Queen.
worms and things. But
Speedless links.
because if it was like a 2-base layer for Spire at this point, he'd have taken guesses
Yeah.
by now, surely.
He's taking 2 more now.
Okay, so
It's very late though.
3 is normally like roaches.
It's
right?
like you're gonna reach Mutas very fast, but it's gonna be like 6 Mutas. Is it really enough?
This is interesting. 4th gas goes down. So Spire is
Yeah, Spire. So it's
Wow,
fast
This
Mutas.
is so fast.
This is like a Cats build, man.
Holy moly.
Except Cats would be on 1 base.
I guess. Well, double evolution engineering bay is on the way. Not exactly been spotted out of range here, but surely this throws Kelazhur's usual turret timing way off whack because of how fast it is.
Yeah. Remember in the previous game, though, he was anticipating Mutas to be there very, very quickly, and he made turrets actually super fast. It was roaches, and he got punished. In this game, is he able to realize what he's up against?
Well, if he lets those Hellions on through.
Yeah, he sees like a regular timing on that 3rd hatch here, so I don't think he's going to be able to realize that it's a pretty quick Mutas. If he scans the main and sees no layer there, it might actually ring a bell with the amount of gas that's been mined already, because it's been a ton. Like with the left extractor in the main is already like 400 or 500 gas mined from that.
And that's the thing. I mean, how do you get the information here as a Terran? Are you going to try and run past these 2 queens that are probably going to try and block off? Even more of a block off now with double evolution chamber at the top of this. And even if you do drop the scan, as you mentioned before, then you're not going to see much.
The thing is, as I said, like I predicted pretty nicely actually, it's going to be just 6 Mutas starting here momentarily, so is it really enough to do damage?
I mean, we have 4 Marines out at the moment and no sign of missile turrets just yet. So unless Kelazhur reads into this and is like, right, you have nothing here, I'm just going to throw down the missile turrets a little earlier. He has no information to tip himself off to this.
How is he going to defend against those aliens without the Mutas? Because the Mutas, they have to fly across the map and start taking their own SCVs, I think.
I mean, do you even need to have your 3rd base up and running at this point? Can you not just cancel it?
He's not going to kill Kelazhur with the Mutas, I think. He's going to do damage. But then behind this, he needs the 3rd base no matter what.
Yeah, he let it finish. The Queens are
the Hellions?
Are they going to die?
I thought they were going to go in the main, but they're still doing damage against these Queens. Surely right now, Kelazhur knows something's up. I'm surprised he hasn't started turrets. He saw 3 Queens fighting for 5 minutes against Hellions, but no, there's no turrets, and the Mutas are going to fly in there.
Oh, brilliant move here by Hydra. Really kind of throwing everything off tempo. Now a missile turret has started, but he's already got himself 9 worker kills from this. Really bringing those numbers down. Of course, he took a small economical hit himself because he was trying to go for this quickly, but still, I think he's done a really good chunk of damage there.
Slowlings surrounded one of the Hellions and killed it, but 18 SCVs have been killed. This is a massive number at this point. It's 36 SCVs to 47 drones. Hydra, I think he's going to have enough here in a second to defend against... actually, he's getting 22 more links. That's a pretty massive commitment to defending against those Hellions.
I'm surprised the slow lings have actually done the amount of damage that they have to the Hellions over at the other side. I mean, obviously with Queen's support, yes, but they have been slow lings for the most part against this. Hellbats are now here. They can kill off themselves 1 extra Queen, get quite a few lings as well. And speed just about to kick in, so they should be cleaned up.
Yeah, and +2 actually, he starts to +2 attack here as well. So 2-2 already starting here for Kelazhur, who's gonna stay alive in this game. 42 SCVs against 55 drones. As long as he has the triple orbital doing the job, he's gonna be okay. Look at all these mules, man.
He lost 4 or 5 of the Mutalisks now, but for the amount of workers he's killed off, 22 with that, I think the commitment is quite strong, considering he was droning up for the most part behind that.
Yeah, the thing is, those upgrades though for Kelazhur, like it's really worrying for Hydra. Like Kelazhur from there, he's got enough turrets in his bases. He's even getting a second one in natural to make sure that those Mutas, because he knows this is the weak point where Hydra will most likely come back. So it's not going to be harassable.
Well, kills off yet another SCV. More Mutalisks now on the way, 9. Being added on here to just continue to exploit this. And the thing is that because Hydra opened in the way he has done, has he really kind of controlled the tempo of this game entirely? Because he's over his opponent's side of the map putting on all the pressure where it's usually supposed to be for the Terran, the kind of other way around.
Oh, don't worry, it's gonna happen later on, but Kelazhur needs to recover in terms of, economy and army. He needs to get a lot of units out. He scans the 3rd base, sees a bunch of Mutas coming out, sees the saturation and the macro hatch. And I don't think he's too happy right now.
He's going to lose a few of these Marines. Well, for the cost of a Mutalisk. It's on out of there as well. Centrifugal Hooks is about to finish up. A lot of Lings in production, and if he sets himself up Banelings nicely, he can pretty much bowl those that entire Marine Force down.
The creep spread is not bad, by the way, for how action-packed this game has been, really. It's reaching, you know, that fourth base location here for Hydra towards the middle of the map.
Surely it's so scary for Kelazhur to be out in the middle of the map for him. I mean, he's got to rival Mutalisks that are in the air.
Well, I mean, yeah, but off creep, like, it's very hard for Hydra to engage with Banelings.
Yeah. Well, also working on these engineering bays. +2 armor will finish up in just a second. The SCVs come to repair, but, I mean, +2 armor's already finished anyway.
It's really cool how Hydra is able to find room, by the way, to do damage, even though there is like a ton of turrets, a lot of Marines out. I think Hydra's hoping for this attack to happen because he's going to have a whole bunch of Banelings in defense.
Perfect. That's a lot of Banelings. I'm not sure if Kelazhur can really deal with this mount. He's going to try and split back to this left-hand side, but there's no shimmy that is going to be able to evade those Banelings.
The double eBay got sniped.
Yeah, no 3-3 for a while.
Yeah, no 3-3 is going to start 2-2 at least completed before that.
He's more than happy to just sit here.
They never die.
This is ridiculous. He is going to get add-ons here, slowing down all the Marine production. Resources is very, very similar in terms of the losses, but Hydra has had, I would say,
how many kills do these guys have? The spirit of Julizerg, man, was was summoned here within those Mutas. They kill so much, and at the same time, now we're gonna have a big run by with Zerglings in the third base.
It's all going wrong here for Kelazhur. He's 50 supply down. Banelings are on the way as well to shut down any kind of bioforce.
And the Mutas get right back to work.
Oh, dear me. It's never ending. Absolutely never ending. Hydra here is showing his class in this final series of the day and really, really reining this one in. The missile turret died as well. 11 extra workers have gone down. He's killed 43 in the space of 15 minutes.
Yeah, these Mutas really did way more damage than I thought they would. I mean, it's just started with 6 Mutas. Can you believe that? He killed a whole bunch of SCVs from the start, and now he's up to 44 SCVs killed so far in this game, with just mostly those Mutas here. Hydra. I mean, first 2 Widow Mines are going to come out, but at this point...
They don't have Drilling Claws. They can't... yeah, well... Did they actually get Drilling Claws? No, they didn't. So they will.
And he's been trying to survive.
Yeah,
you gotta prioritize.
Yeah, you gotta have some units to actually keep going. How much does he even have right now? Only 21 Marines against 27, but 71 Zerglings. This is gonna be so difficult.
There's more Banelings than there is Marines. You know that the Terran's in trouble.
Yeah. Well,
Blue Flame's gonna start, but I mean. I think I'd much prefer Widow Mines being made here, because at least you have a chance, you know, to get a lucky detonation. And at this point, this Medivac being sent out on the map, man. Surprised that Medivac had to go on mutiny and stay home, because...
It's going to be pretty tough to try and wiggle on around and find a good opportunity here. That's a lot of Banelings. Once again, even more morphing in. Extra 80.
He wants to go to Canada, man.
He's going to have about 50 Banelings here to crash up against this. So doesn't even care about waiting for them. Here come the Banelings. Zergling's trying to get a wrap around on some of the bio at the back. Some of the Banelings actually just completely, or the majority of them, completely evade the Thors to just get to the juicy army. And this is a slaughter, unfortunately, here for Kelazhur, as Hydra is not messing around here in the final series of Group E. Will completely destroy everything. GG. Hydra advances on to the round of 16 to Toronto to the Season 2 finals.
A lot of people expected Hydra to do well and to advance, but in the end, it was in the Deciders match, which I don't think too many people would have predicted. And you know, after losing to Lilbo, he stayed calm and focused and did a job here against Kelazhur, who I guess didn't look as good as he did against Snoot, but it was really Hydra, you know, pulling the strings and making a lot of good decisions here, I think, in this series.
I'm not sure Hydra wants to continue this kind of trend that he's been setting in the round of 32 at the moment, this kind of heart-palpitating moments where he's losing some of these series and just kind of trying to scratch on through. But regardless, he makes it to the round of 16 once again, looking to contend for the title. We already saw him in Season 1 after the round of 32 look extremely dominating. And now, moving on, I expect no less from him.
He was really confident too the whole time. But Kelazhur, mad props to him though. Like these were some good games and good series here. Beating Snoot is no easy feat, believe me.
Yeah, that is true. All right, well, that does it from us here at the caster's desk. Let's head over to the analysis desk with, of course, Sean and Hydra.
Thank you very much, Kalaris. And we are joined by the second place winner who is going to Toronto as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Hydra. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Second place. Probably not the way you wanted to go through this group. I mean, talk to us a little bit. You're oh dear me. That didn't happen. Season 1 finalist, top 2. You come to today's group. You're expecting personally to go through from this group, no doubt. You go down to the lower bracket. What were you thinking when you were down there?
First of all, it's my second time round of 16 in WCS. Yeah, it means a lot. But on the other hand, I'm sad about playing against Kelazhur. Yeah, I think I didn't play well today. Yeah, maybe I could have advanced together with Kelazhur. Yeah.
All right, Pig.
It's a really impressive series. They're very commanding to finish it off. Did you go into that series knowing much about your teammate Kelazhur? Did you change the way you played specifically because of his style?
All I know about he is just he likes liberal play and kind of micro play. So yeah, I wanted to go like safe. So yeah, that's why I went to Loch's first game. Yeah.
How does it feel then to get 2 season finals now? You've top 16 twice in a row. Is it a nice feeling now that you're moving to 16, or is this just okay? I got to the top 16. That's okay. I want a lot more.
Yeah, of course I want a lot more, but yeah, it means a lot for me. Like second times in WCS because everything's a new experience for me. Yeah, it's really nice.
All right, are you going to win this season? Are you the winner already? Am I talking to the season 2 winner already?
That's the question?
Yeah, that's the question. Are you going to win?
Of course I am.
Of course you are. Thank you. Back to a more serious question, Hydra, and I'll leave you with a question in a minute as well, Pig, before we close this up. What is it that's made you the better player in recent times? I think we can say that this is your best year ever in StarCraft II. Why?
Okay, I'm gonna say 3 things.
Okay.
Yeah. Eat a lot.
You eat a lot?
Practice a lot. Shit a lot. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, Hydra. Last question's Pig. Hard to follow that one up.
I just wanted to end on a lighter note. If you had to imagine that you were one Zerg unit, and if you were to become a Zerg unit, which unit would you be?
Of course, Hydra.
Hydra.
Ladies and gentlemen, second place from Group E this evening, Root Gaming's Hydra.
Thank you.
And that does it for Group E. We had 8 players that had qualified for Toronto coming into today's broadcast. We now have 10. It is Lilbo and Hydra who join the likes of the other 8 players that qualified from groups A, B, C, and D. Here is the bracket for confirmation. The Frenchman goes through in first place, followed by Hydra in second. And that does it for us for day 1 of 4 here in Cologne, Germany. And we'll be back tomorrow as the champion of Season 1 comes to the stage, comes to Cologne, Germany. Pult enters along with TLO. Major. Should have expected that one. With TLO, Major, and a laser. We'll be playing in tomorrow's group. We'll see you at the same time, same place, StarCraft2.com/WCS. See you tomorrow.
One game away from the crowd.